The sequence was specifically requested by a student who works with students who have Parkinson's disease, MS, and other autoimmune diseases such as fibromyalgia. Working with the chair standing gives the ability for you to have a sense of balance and safety, which is calming for the nervous system. So takes away the fear of falling and gives a sense of stability and grounding. So as we work through the sequence, we're actually working toward side plank pose, but standing. So we'll offer some things that are modifications and progressions. So starting in Tadasana, I can face this way, but I'll turn and face the wall in just a minute. So I'm only going to show the right side, and then you can do the left side. But it's a short sequence. So standing in Tadasana, you've got the chair and the wall behind you for balance, and so that it's accessible at any time. Finding the feet and finding the ability to yield to the earth, so there is a sense of slightly softening the knees so that you can feel a sense of grounding. When there's rigidity in the knees, there is a sense that you could actually fall at any time. So we want to have that sense of buoyancy. As there's buoyancy in the knees, you feel as if the spine were growing tall. And just a few cascading exhales here. So exhaling as fully and as long as you can without gasping for the inhale. And then finding another breath. And one more round. So turning toward the chair, we'll take some simple movements here. Softening the knees, you can either have the hand toward the chair or the hand at the wall. And as the knees soften, moving toward the chair and again, dragging the hand along the wall as you need for balance. Hands move onto the chair and take a gentle standing cat and cow. Moving from the feet first. So as you push through the feet, there is this translation up the spine, moving into a cat position. And then moving again from the feet, moving the tailbone and allowing the chest and the heart to drag forward. One more time, starting from the feet, so the feet progress and you can see the movement. So I'm not just moving from the lumbar spine, but I actually feel the feet pushing against the earth. And then last, I use the hands to push and press away. But the majority of the weight of this functional exercise is back into the feet rather than into the hands. So there's less pressure on the wrists themselves. In fact, they could take the arms further forward, so there's even less pressure, and most of the weight is into the feet. From here, rounding and can have the chair for balance. The hand can move gently toward the wall, and as you step away with the left foot or the outside leg, the hand and the arm straighten, and the chin and the head can go side to side, ear to shoulder, or turning, looking right and left, and noticing the sensations that you feel in the arm. If it feels too nervy, in other words, if it feels strong, the elbow can bend and you can be closer to the wall. As you push away, begin to rotate from the torso, so feeling the torsion happen from the inside foot as you rotate out. And then as you come toward the wall, reaching the arm and crawling the fingertips up. And the opposite knee or the outside knee bends. And the same thing happens, rotating to the outside. You can push as much or as little as you like from the wall. And then as you bend and round, coming into that cow position, you can place the arms in various positions, either low or high, depending on what you see happening in your student. Then moving closer toward the wall, the forearm comes, and just gently begin to lean into the entirety of the forearm. So it's not just the hand or the elbow, but you're feeling the wholeness of the forearm. And slowly step the outside foot out and bend the inside knee. As you lean into that arm, you're beginning to feel where the weight resides. And noticing what's happening and the stability that's happening in the shoulder girdle as the load progresses. Then on your next breath, you'll begin to circle the arm up and around. Then the hips gently move as you push through the inside foot to reach across. And once again, rounding and opening through the chest, notice that you can roll the shoulder forward and back. So as I roll and open, fanning the arm open, I can push away once again and reach out with the neck. And I can change the position of my arm based on what I'd like to feel in my chest, neck, and shoulders. but there still is that sense of stability. Stepping into the inside foot, take your time to shift the weight. As the weight shifts, you'll slowly begin to lift the outside knee. Now just pause, notice wherever it goes is perfect without having to support the leg or pulling it in any specific way. Lower it down onto a block. I've set 2 blocks just below. So now that you can see my hip flexion is different than if I were standing here, right? So the hip flexion actually increases in the front leg, and I'm more into leg extension in the back leg, so here. From here, I can take another breath and lift and see if the opportunity is available to me to lift the leg to the chair. And then go back and forth with this movement, resting the foot on the chair, using my own strength to put the foot onto the chair, resting the foot on the block, breathing, extending the leg here. The opposite hand could be here on your ear for balance. It could be on the ilium. It could be relaxed by your side. This arm could actually just go down or relax by your side, depending on the need for balance in that day. So if there is quite a bit of rigidity, you know you might stay here and then come here. You might be here and then come here. You'll step the back leg a little bit further back and do the same motion and perhaps progress a little further. And this time you'll begin to slowly shift the weight forward. The back knee could be slightly soft if there is difficulty in the range of motion moving into that slight anterior tilt. Otherwise, you can see that my pelvis starts to move a little bit anteriorly and I come into more extension of the back leg. Then I can begin to shift the weight forward, push through the front leg to go back. I shift the weight forward and I push through the front leg to go back. And I shift the weight forward and push. And here we can begin to notice by taking this into a repetitive movement that it's very quietening for the sensory system. So as I'm quietening the system, because the brain is starting to recognize this is a repetitive movement, and then the range of motion tends to increase. And then you'll simply lift and then release. You can do the same thing with the other leg, and then you can also turn this into a variation of a side angle pose. So as I shift the weight, I'm keeping my hips relatively forward, even though side angle pose says open the hips, or please don't use the word square the hips. Your ilium is all one piece, and if I'm asking the front leg to be in external rotation, then the back leg needs to be in slight internal rotation here. So it's not very much externally rotated. It's moving forward in that direction. So I can begin to play around with this movement here and then adding that side angle and reach across and back. And you can really work with their range of motion, meaning I can move through the center and work with that elbow either in a circular way, or I can work with that and rotate the armpit up and back. How much weight you put in this arm is based on the individual's stability needs. So I could use less and use more strength for my legs, or I can put more pressure into the hand here. And then as the weight comes back, you can take the wall and release. And then come back to the side plank again and feel the weight go into the side. So my entire forearm is here. It's about elbow to shoulder, and I just pour the weight into the wall. And then I'll lower the arm just a little bit, step the leg out to the side, bend the inside knee and pour more weight. So that is going to be additional load on the joint. I could progress to moving the leg just a little further out if the body is ready for more load onto the shoulder. And then we could add an option to take the side, or we could step this foot in for more stability and simply reach and feel the lateral movement of the shoulder. And then coming back to the center. On your next breath, you can simply take a seated movement. And here you can work with range of motion and cat and cow again. You can work with lateral movement, and you can work with spinal extension as you're seated. You can also work with a little bit more forward bending and reach down and progress toward a side angle in this position. So as I rotate, I'm rotating all of the hips. This could be the beginning of it, and I could reach back more and more into extension, or I can come here and take that variation of side angle pose, pressing through the forearm as well. And then reaching the arm back out and adjusting and bringing the legs back center. So ending with a quiet, calming breath here, following the expiration of breath. So a gentle inhalation and following the exhale all the way to the very, very bottom of the breath and into the feet. And again, inhale and following the breath all the way down. One thing I find really calming to the nervous system with MS and Parkinson's in particular, is the concept of touch and teacher touch. And so if I were coming in and my student were seated, I would ask permission to put my hands on their feet as they breathe in and give them a tactile sensation of the expiration of breath moving all the way to where my hands are. So there is this mental visualization of the breath finding its completion and there being just a pool of pause and feeling the earth underneath me. So there is that really, really gentle response of the nervous system, that there is a sense of safety. And so oftentimes a little tactile touch can be quite soothing to the nervous system, whether it's the type of Parkinson's that is rigid, or whether it's the type of Parkinson's that causes tremors. So both of which would be responsive to just very calming touch right at the extremities, either the hands or the feet. I hope this is helpful for you, and thank you for the request, Margot. And hopefully you're able to see it with the light. This is our studio in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we would love to have you come study with us. Thank you so much.